All right, what's up, everyone? It's Coach Tony here with the Unfair Advantage, and today I have another amazing special guest with me today. I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and we'll go ahead and get started with this party. Hey, go ahead, Kristine.
Hi,
Hi,
I go to university. I'm a freshman now. I'm a liberal studies major with a pre-law concentration, and yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
Super awesome. All righty. So let's go ahead and get started. So the purpose of this call is kind of share your high school journey with other students. I think a lot of students think they can't get into certain schools because of certain backgrounds. So I just want to show like there's lots of different ways to get to certain colleges as well. So the first half of this call, we'll kind of chat about your high school journey first, and then after that, we'll talk about like your college options, kind of where you chose to go to college, and kind of why there. And at the end, we have a few questions. So if anyone's here live or here live, feel free to drop your questions in the comments and we'll ask them later on. And I do have a few questions as well too from students who really want to show up, but I think they're in class right now too. They're still in
Yeah.
school right now. So they sent me a few questions ahead of time. So let's go ahead and get started. So first question, open-ended question for you. How was high school for you? So high school life for you, I think like academics, extracurriculars. What did you spend your time doing?
I grew up with immigrants. I mean, I'm Asian American, first generation, like child of immigrants. So academics has been such a big priority for my family, especially my parents worked really hard over to America. So it was kind of my job to make them proud in a way, not really my obligation in a way. I spent a lot of high school doing AP classes. I'm a class AP student. And extracurricular wise, I was really into art and photography and stuff. So I definitely took that onto the football field. There almost every single game, every basketball game, volleyball game, taking pictures for the yearbook, for my school magazine. I was actually my sophomore year for my school magazine, which was super fun to review a bunch of cool food places for high school to go to, study at, etc., movies. And it was just, for me, fun because I didn't get to hang out with a lot of my friends. My and that way I could just talk to people, connect with people, be able to put my energy into something. I think that's one reason why I just like stayed sane through high school. But overall, it was a really fun time for me. But yeah, that's much about high school.
I was muted the entire time. One more time. The one thing you mentioned at the very beginning is that I think, and that's why we share a lot of commonality, is that we're both like children of like immigrants, right? Like my parents also came here with nothing. I'm the oldest one in my family as well too, so I had to like learn everything about like education, everything as well too. How big of a role did that have on you, or did that kind of change your high school experience that like other folks didn't have to that go through that same struggles as well. So how did that factor of being like the first generation student, and like coming from that kind of background affect like high school for you?
I'm lucky enough that my dad did actually have an opportunity to go to college, so he had a little bit in some ton. He transferred from community college to UCS, but it just had a impact because I wasn't going to school dances. I wasn't like I had a certain time I had to be home. I couldn't go out to eat with my friends after and stuff like that. Things that you do with that you usually after games bond with people. So most of the time it was I'd go straight home and it's like they were super strict, but overall gave me the strength to stay into school and it gave me the motivation to study. So I, bribe them to go out sometimes. But overall, like it had a huge impact. It taught me discipline. It taught me a lot of things about just like how to work life and school life and stuff like that. And when I got older and started like around junior year, I started getting a job, like first job, I worked at Target. They taught me like, oh, like this is how you save money. This is how you do this. And in college, that like you're gonna have to learn to juggle this and stuff like that. So a lot of life lessons that I think not a lot get to experience from having parents who care that much, just be in your life that much. So yeah.
No, I think the line you said about like having to be at home right away, I definitely relate to that. I definitely
Yeah.
had like zero activities after school. It was
Always for the pickup line. There are
yep.
times you're not like within 5 minutes done, like you're screwed 6 feet under right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, 100%. I exactly feel the same way. They think something happened to me if I like I'm just running a little late last
Yeah.
night or something, but they get mad at me when I get home and woo,
Yeah.
fun memories are there as well too. So definitely, but I feel like the thing that like there is a lot of like things that you learn from that type of like upbringing as well too. I think I definitely appreciate thinking back now all everything my parents did for that. With you having more time at home, it has you. I'm sure you had more time to study as well too. So study habits and study tips is a big topic for a lot of high school students. Do you have any tips for high school students on how to study effectively? And how to navigate, and if you have any specific tips for like today's climate, because it's definitely a different world now
Yeah,
than others.
definitely.
If you have any tips on in the realm of studying.
Planners help out so much. I know most high schools they use a planner and you look at it saying, oh, it's tacky, it looks gross, the graphics are disgusting, I'm gonna be too lazy to keep up with it. But honestly, like it helps so much. You write down, and for some reason it helps remember assignments a lot. And I also use like this website called Notion, where for my spring semester, what I'm doing right now, and I have like a master schedule that has all my due dates on and for all my classes, and reminds me like 20 hours for my due. Oh, you have this assignment due. This is what the assignment's for. Where to turn it in. Just being organized and planning out your time, especially if you're working in school, that's also really hard because you're young and still want to have money, you still want to have a and stuff like that, and having things to organize your calendar with, having to-do lists, and having also really good support system, like having one or two people in a class to have a group chat with you helps out so much. And like you can study as you want, but balancing your time is probably one of the most important things for study tips for me. Is like a big procrastinator. I will literally wait 5 minutes before an assignment is due before and like to visualize what have out me actually helped me a lot more with being productive during my studies, like optimizing my hours for tests or quizzes and assignments, writing my essays, getting my essays like by my teachers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the importance of a calendar is really, really, really big. I think I just like realized it recently, like this past year. Can you type or can you say that website you used again one more time? I think the audio kind of sped up really quick, but I think you said something about using a planner or using some website to help you organize things.
I have two planners. The website one is Notion, Notion, and it's super fun because it's super customizable. Like you can artsy as you want. And I also have like a bullet journal because I like to draw, and I'm super like I just the free form like dotted things. I do whatever I want, as pretty as I want, messy as I want, depending on how lazy I am. Just like do all of that, and it is super fun. It's also creative outlet. Like it gives me a creative outlet when I wanted to break from school. I log on to where assignments I had that week into my bullet journal or Notion, and it's just like one, it's aesthetically pleasing. I'm all about that. I just have things look really pretty, so it just took up my time with that, and it just makes it a lot more fun. So
Yeah, I agree. I think I've started to use Notion. I think I feel I need someone to walk and teach me how to use it. I feel it's really amazing because everyone uses it, but I haven't used it yet for some reason. I want to throw in one more for everyone else is Google Calendar. That's how I've been able to do everything. Good. I think a combination of all this Google Calendar is amazing for me. Definitely because you don't have to think. I think the benefit I'm sure of using these tools for you is like you don't have to think as much and you spend your thinking power being creative because you're definitely a super creative person. So with that as well too. I know you mentioned creative outlet, photography. Where did your passion kind of start for all this creativity side of you? Was it like it's always in you, or when did you like realize like, hey, this is kind of what I want to pursue?
It started super young. I think like third grade. My parents have always had cameras. We have like a gazillion cameras in my house. I bet you right now go into the closet, I will find 3 vintage film cameras that my dad just keeps around. Um, but I've always just been interested in it. I like the control that I have here to me, how I want my pictures to be perceived. And I'm really so nitpicky and like kind of a perfectionist. So I have things look right, and it doesn't look right unless I do it myself. It's one of those things where I just control how I want to see the world. And it kind of just like it's therapeutic for me. I don't know. I just like to take pictures and stuff like that. And around, I want to like pursue around high school when things got a little bit more serious. Like I was taking pictures for the year for the magazine. All these times I had people like, "Hey, take my cap and gown pictures." I'm like, "Yeah, of course, let's do it." And that's how I just to it. And now I'm part of feminine publication at Sonoma State, where I'm on our web pages. I post our art and stuff like that. Overall, just like artistic things. I don't know. It's just a little therapy sometimes, especially I know with a lot of Americans today, our parents are just at me because I cannot do numbers for crap. I look at this and I just cry. So it's one of those things where I finally feel free to. So yeah.
No, I think this is super funny. You all said that because me too. I grew up. My dad also loved cameras. He loved taking pictures as well too. But somehow that never got carried over to me. I take the worst pictures ever. I think anytime I take pictures, people like, oh, thanks, and but they weren't happy with that, and I always feel bad. So I might get some points to you after. But uh, in terms of like the photography side of you, like where do you see that in your future? Like, is that what you're studying in college, or is that something you just want to do on the side, or how involved do you want that to be in your future?
I really think of it as side hustle. Right now, I'm a social studies major with a pre-law concentration, so that's taking up a lot of my time. Lots of prepping for that and like that. I definitely see it as a side hustle, and I do photo shoots now with my friends when they want to, and like little trips to like the sand dunes down here in San Diego. So the sand dunes are like hours away and stuff. So it's really just a side hustle for me. If it blows up to more than that, I'm just going the flow with it. Honestly, if it blows up, it blows up. But I just really like taking pictures and posting my shoots on TikTok like that. It's been a pretty experience as well.
Super cool as well. So I love that mentality of like let's just keep doing it. 'Cause I feel a lot of people, a lot of students I talk to, they feel like everything a student needs to do has to be like has a purpose. Like I'm taking pictures because
Yeah,
whatever, and I'm like no, just do things you enjoy. Like I can definitely tell like every time you talk to people
everything
like
joy. Yeah, everything. I totally agree. I talked to many of my friends who are still in high school, and they're like, I have to do this. My college tells me I enjoy doing it. Like, is it like you training yourself to do something that you don't truly enjoy? I think that's what colleges see through your application is
Mhm.
that if you're just doing all these things just to put it on a college resume, then you don't actually gain anything from it. Then why are you doing it? Like, there's no point to do it.
No, I think that statement is so perfect. I think that was like that's the best takeaway. We can end now, and I think that was the best takeaway from this call. I think that's the one thing I can push for all students: do chase happiness, do what makes you happy, kind of happy and enjoy
Exactly.
as well too for sure. All right, so let's move. Let's flash forward a little farther. Senior year. So how was senior year? It's college admission season. So what kind of schools were you applying to? Kind of why you kind of chose certain schools? And then we can follow up with that with why you ended up picking Sonoma State.
Senior year was really fun for me. Of course, it was super due to COVID, which sucked. I didn't get it
Mhm.
graduated, but I was during college. I was like everyone else, especially in my where they like enforce college application process, thinking about colleges since elementary grade school. And I was a complete wreck. I'm sure everyone is who are like of colleges right too. But while looking for college, I was looking for somewhere, one, I wanted to go far away, really far away, because I just wanted something new. I was looking for what my tuition was going to be, how much financial aid would I get. I was on vacation. I actually toured NYU and Columbia, like my freshman year, and I really just loved New York City so much. I love the vibe. I love NYU. The whole campus was city basically, and it was a structured campus. I SU, I toured Cal State Argos and stuff like that. And you just have to pick which one fits you the best. Like I met students, I talked to students, I went to like little virtual like tour of the school as well. And what really I was focusing on was my program. I want to be PreLaw, and I was looking at the stats. I was talking to PreLaw students at those schools, what their experiences was, how the professors were teaching, and that price, location, and student experience. Yeah, that's what I was looking for mainly.
Super awesome, super awesome. I think you definitely, you're the first group, or hopefully not so many more of these, but like the first group to kind of navigate everything through a pandemic as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure it definitely was a lot harder. Any tips for like the current junior class now? They're approaching admission season soon in a few months, but so far it depends on kind of where you are in the world. But for a lot of areas, it's still going to be that I feel like a repeat of last year for a lot of students, unfortunately, as well too. So, any tips for students navigate now that you've gone through the whole process? Any tips you want to give current juniors now?
I would say talk to people who go to that school. If you have an opportunity to reach out, reach out. If they give you an opportunity to go to a virtual tour, talk to professors. I know like a lot of campuses will email you saying like, oh, we have this event to get to know us and stuff like that. And go to those events. If you, especially during a pandemic right now, you can't physically fly to a school to go tour them. You can't physically talk to face necessarily. To try to know the school, them on Instagram, see how students are acting with the camp and stuff like that. Just get to know this overall, and also don't make your list too big. That was my biggest mistake. Is I had 20 schools on my list. It was like right cutoff. I was like trying to get applications done and trying to see which give grant to send in my application free, and just narrow schools I don't want to go to. So I'd say start narrowing your list now rather than New Year when you're supposed to be working on your application, and focus on the schools that you actually genuinely apply to, rather than being up until senior year being like, okay, that was my time this month, really you should be working or your resume or getting ready for your interviews and stuff like that.
Super awesome. All right, one last quick question from me, and we'll jump over to the Q&A section from the students. Final question for me. So we are the unfair advantage. So our goal is to help give students the unfair advantage in college, career, and life success. What is one tip that you would give students to basically, it feels like an unfair advantage that they'll know this little tip to help either college, help with career, or help with life success?
A good relationship with your school counselor. It makes a huge difference. I had an amazing relationship with her, and she wrote me a stellar recommendation. What a lot of people don't know is that they have a template. It's because they have so many students to write for. So put an effort, go into them maybe once a week, ask them how they are, be friends with them so they know your face, they know your story, and that way will be even better than it already was. And that's the thing, like the teachers, like when make sure you thank your teachers recommendation letter too. I don't do that. Like shower them with gifts. When I got my first call from where my teacher had assigned, I brought a rec to gave her a t-shirt, and she really appreciated that. And it builds good rapport with them. If you need them for other letters or additional letter, they're more than happy to do it.
I think your second tip, I love that tip as well too. I think for a lot of students, they think it's like a one-time transaction. Hey, can you write me a letter? and they write you this amazing letter and then nothing left. Like that
Yeah,
the teacher
they
waiting for something.
a Starbucks gift card. Like, they deserve it. They taught you for all of the high school, and you're just gonna say thank you, goodbye. Like, no, that's not how we're doing it here. So yeah, always thank your teachers, build a relationship with them, because it always pays off.
100%. I think I tell my students, like, think, put yourself in their shoes. Like, if you
Yeah.
taught the student for several years or whatever relationship you had with the student, and you poured your heart into this letter that can basically make or break their life, kind of thing, right?
If
Technically
they
for a lot of
if
literally
they
break their life.
it, yeah, and
And
don't think
then you get in, and then you said thanks, and you just walk away. Like, how would that make you feel, kind of thing? I was like, oh, so like I definitely agree. Like, I still come back every year or so to my high school and just thank them for like helping me make me who I am today. Because like definitely, I wouldn't be who I am without them as well too. So that's definitely a great, super. I think that's super big unfair advantage as well too. All right, let's move on to. We have a few questions from students who definitely could not make it there in school right now. But one student's question, I think we posted your like frame before, and they saw that you were pre-law, and we didn't talk about it yet. So where did the pre-law come in? And then like you never talked about that really yet. So where that gonna come in into your life, and where does that fit in your life?
like asking how I decided to go pre-law
Yeah,
overall.
correct.
Okay. Funny story. I was arguing with my dad one day, as I should. Honestly, it was bickering, and just hit with the facts like again. And my uncle just looks at me. He's just like, "Wow, you should be a lawyer." You know what? Maybe I should be a lawyer. So I read into it more. I just overall, it's one of those I've always been good at during seminars. I've always been good at debate, and I love reading. Sometimes I hate academic reading, but you kind of just get through it. But enjoy the whole act about it, and I feel like make an impact a lot. And since the whole law industry is a very conservative, dominated kind of profession, I feel like now we're seeing more women and we're seeing more people of color actually come to the plate, just doing their thing, and they're doing amazing, and I just want to be part of that. And I make so many differences in the world. It's gonna be
Super awesome. All right, you just quick follow up on that as well too. You said that you love to read. What are 3 books you recommend to high school students
oh
to
my
read?
gosh. Okay, this sounds really bad. American Psycho is an amazing book. I read it as my very like free reading for my class. That was really I suggest Brave New World. We read that for my AP Lit class. That was a very good book. It makes you kind of a lot of things. Third would be it was autobiography. I don't know what, but it was Grass. I read that book in my liberal studies class semester. It was really good too. So all of them are super good reads. American Psycho is a little bit heavy, but you can definitely see like the structure of it, and there's to take that. Yeah.
Awesome. I think you segued yourself perfectly with the last statement. Someone asked you, what is a liberal studies major?
Oh
Because
gosh.
it's not a very common like one than like from most colleges. Can you explain what the liberal studies major means? Because I major in liberal studies, but at Berkeley it's something similar to what liberal studies is. So I think yeah. So you can share what that means, or what major it is.
I can't explain it myself. It's a very diverse major. Actually, at Sonoma State, we have called the Hutchins major, which is liberal study, but it attacks learning very differently. I don't have quiz, I don't have finals. I have seminars that I'm supposed to go to. I have discussions I'm supposed to review, and just it's like a philosophy class. I to compare that. We learn a lot about philosophy. We learn a lot about human mind, but in a more like individuality kind of way. It's more about yourself and learning, taking you and taking yourself on a teaching journey. You're more teaching yourself than your teachers are teaching you. I have maybe talked to my professor 4 or 5 times a semester. It was all discussions in class, and my teacher literally just mute herself and just watch the whole thing go down unless she had to mediate. overall things, it's just something, it's a very major, and it's more about you, and it's not so much lecturing towards you, it's you kind of lecturing yourself, and also like all your classmates coming together and learn things. I don't know if that makes sense, because each liberal studies program at school is different, but we do it at the Hutchins community here at Sonoma. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I like to think of it like a really super hybrid major. Most
Yeah.
schools offer a liberal studies kind of form. It's a very like a hybrid because there's no one class. Like your schedule is basically every single subject kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
literally, there's the thing. It's so hard to explain because taking a history class, an English class,
Mhm.
like a critical thinking class, and an oral communication class all meshed into one class, and it's just it's hard to explain. But
Okay.
I really like it. It encourages you to think a lot deeper than what a lot of college classes you do, and especially in high school too. You kind of have to go with the curriculum, but with liberal studies, they make you do everything. It's so fluid, and it's nice to think critically differently than what your old curriculums in high school taught you to do.
Awesome. Cool. And one final question for you. If you were to give a high school student tip of advice, any grade, pick a grade, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, pick a grade, one piece of advice. What piece of advice would that be, and to which grade?
I would say I'm a senior.
Mhm.
Um, a career. Um, College application is stressful, yes, but once you do it, I do not unless I email you about something, out of sight, out of mind. Think about it. Stop refreshing. Stop it, because I did that and it me every single time. I'd say your application isn't ready yet. It was so bad, but out of sight, out of mind. Have fun. It's your last year in high school. Go to prom. Go to homecoming. Go to football games. Do football games. Do late movie dates with your friends. Like go on a drive-through if you have tunnels in your city or wherever you're living. Have fun. And honestly, if you don't get to the college of your dreams, just know that it wasn't really meant to be, and you'll always find somewhere where you will belong. It's not the end of the world. So stop about it. Fine.
I love that. I think I couldn't end it any better myself. So with that said, thank you, Kristine, for your knowledge and experience here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live. If you're watching the replay, thank you, thank you. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop it below. If you haven't liked or subscribed yet, I don't know what the button is. Click wherever the like and subscribe button is on this video. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see